Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Thursday Super Speedway Xfinity Series here at Daytona International Speedway. We've got 75 laps under the lights here for you on Thursday night, second race of the season, and we cannot wait to get into this action. Saw a great race 2 weeks ago at Atlanta and had a lot of fun with that season opener watching Bud Steele take the victory, the first of the season. And we are ready to go with the second race of 12 on this third 2023 season here at Area 51 on Thursday nights. With myself, Boomer Logan, here in the booth, I've also got my buddy Chris Matthews alongside me. Chris, it's good to have you back and have you in the booth tonight. Definitely should be fun indeed. Most of these drivers are taking their qualifying times right now through qualifying, and we are looking forward to see how that grid shapes up for the evening. Definitely still early on in the season here, Chris. What are you looking as far as strategy here at Daytona for the second race? You know, early in the season, is there any kind of mindset that you're thinking that these drivers are going to look for as they get into this one early?
I like to think that if I am going to be lower on the standings, I'm going to do my hardest to stay up front, no matter what the cost might be. You kind of have to already start risking it when you're looking at what the season can hold right now. But if you're one of the guys up top, you just want to have a clean race. You're hoping for no real cautions, no real mess ups coming to pit road if we do have green flag stops. And if you're somewhere in the middle, you kind of get to choose whether you want to be up front or be in the back, but obviously you want to win. Wins definitely kind of get the job done here in this series, in this league, but the closer you are, the better you have off, so it's honestly just a risk and reward.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've always tried to employ the strategy for plate racing to be towards the front of the pack and trying to command the lead. Take advantage of everything I can, and honestly, kind of the Dale Jr. mentality is he's always shared for his plate racing career, trying to be up front and make things happen from the controlling point of the race. But nonetheless, should be a lot of fun. I'm hearing that we got about 19 to 20 laps or so, maybe a little bit more, into the fuel window. So going to be probably at least a 3-stop race here, unless we get some yellows, and I won't be too surprised if we do have a little bit of action on track. Really difficult here. Obviously, it's the same width of track as Atlanta, at least in the corners, and the tri-oval and the front straightaways are all 40 feet wide. Atlanta having obviously a wider tri-oval or front stretch area, but we're probably going to see a lot of 2-wide action here, I would assume, for most of it. Maybe a little bit of 3-wide coming here and there, but as far as lines go, Chris, are you going to be looking to try and control that outside lane, or are you trying to see if you can do it on the inside lane?
I think the only way you're really going to be able to pass here, unless you get a really, really good run, is you're going to have to be on the outside lane. You're going to have somebody push you. You'll get maybe a car length out in front. If you get a real good push, you might get both cars on the outside out front. So you're going to have to dive down low as soon as that is possible. We've seen it earlier before, and in the different racing series, where we've seen that the team boot knocker guys, they'll have one guy leading up front. And as soon as that second line comes through, they'll throw nice, neat little blocks. Something kind of clean, nothing that really causes any catastrophic, catastrophes. But you might see somebody go from the bottom line to the top line just to block it off and kind of kill off any type of run that might happen. And eventually, that's going to make the guys in the back a little bit frustrated. So we might see some 3-wide action if that keeps happening.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it goes. Obviously, like we said, 75 laps on the schedule, so not a long race, but definitely a lot of time for a lot of things to happen. But you mentioned Team Bootnaka there, driver of that 88 machine, Gabe Butler. He is going to grab that pole position in that number 88 Guinness Chevrolet. On the outside of row number 1 is going to be Jack Walls in that number 83 Pennzoil machine. Good to see him back in action here at Area 51. Peter DeBorgia is going to be inside of row number 2 with Patrick Groover to his outside. We'll have Eric Laurie and Seth Groover rounding out the third row for the evening in the top 6. Patrick Groover and Seth Groover already lined up to work together as a brother duo. Looking forward to see those guys back on track and see what they can get done tonight together. And Bud Steele starting in P7 inside of row number 4. That was your winner last week. He knows how to get around the high banks of Daytona, and we'll have to look to see if he can capitalize on his second win of the season or if someone else is going to take it away and get their first of the season. Carl Lingle will start to his outside in the number 30 machine from Pennsylvania. Row 5 is going to be Austin Call on the inside with David Bone in the 33 from Texas on the outside. For Blind Squirrel Racing, Aubrey Thompson in the number 11 starting position with Andrew Pileshi in the 82 machine to their outside. Moving on to the second page of the grid, we've got Jeremy Osborne and Corey Buskirk in row number 7 with Brandon Paul and Maxwell Caldwell, row number 16. Nathan Warner in the 16 machine is going to start 17th with Ambrose Kniebel to his outside. Another entry for Blind Squirrel Racing. Kevin Freese, Team Bootnaka driver, is going to be first car not to take a time in qualifying. And his teammate Brian Wang will be welcoming back to the series for the first time this season. He'll be on the outside of row number 10. David Overstreet and Gael Brooks are going to make up row number 11. Myself there, Boomer Logan, that is a typo. Managed to join the session incorrectly, so everyone behind, or everyone in the inside row from 23 on will move up one position to start the race, but Charles Johnson will start in the number 24th position for tonight in that number 9 machine. And to the last few drivers not electing to qualify, Jim Brooks, Bob Fitzgerald, 25th and 26th, Adam Kilday, Richard Bernius, Dean Wilkinson, and Giovanni Ochapinti. I apologize if we butcher that, but we'll have to get that one corrected if we don't have that right. But looking forward to see these guys do battle for 75 laps. And before we take the green flag, Chris, any final thoughts?
Looking at where some of these guys are starting, obviously some of them did not take time, so that's going to make things a little bit interesting as they come up through the field when the laps start counting down. But we do have some new names: Aubrey Thompson, Andrew Pileshi. I think he's been here a couple of times, but not as much as I usually see him. Brandon Paul. I think these guys in the middle, kind of starting around 15th, 14th. In that aspect, having some guys that you just don't know or you're unfamiliar with is going to make this pretty interesting to see who wants to draft with who.
Definitely going to be fun, and going to have to look through those guys coming up through the field. But as they go, green flag is in the air. They're going to come up through the gearbox. 1, 2, 3, 4 through the H pattern transmissions in these Xfinity Series cars. Up to speeds over 190 miles an hour into turn number 1. Lap number 1 underway with Gabe Butler leading the way, being pushed by Peter DeBorgia. 2-car breakaway on the inside line right now. Eric Laurie also trying to make it a 3-car breakaway as the 83 of Jack Walls suspect just a little bit. Now he's going to get pushed to the outside, 3 wide there early on in this one. 3 wide action already happening for a brief moment here as we get underway lap number 1.
Yeah, that bottom lane with Eric Laurie, these guys push pretty hard, and that's what really happens. That outside line can get demoralizing really, really quickly, as we see only 2 cars right now on the outside. We have a third one a little bit further back, but demoralizing. As you see, Gabe Butler go all the way up top. I think he led this lap, and he said, "Hey, I'm just going to pull the parachute now, and I'll see you guys at the end of this race."
Yeah, he's got a couple teammates that you mentioned that did not qualify. Brian Wang back there in the 25 machine of Kevin Freese. Probably going to look back to drop back and find those teammates. He's got his bonus point, and he's going to try and stay out of Chaos's way for just a little bit. That's going to give the lead to Peter DeBorgia in this extralife.org machine. Great looking paint scheme, kind of a FedEx-esque scheme, but a even better cause on all over the side of that car for extralife.org that Peter DeBorgia is running right now. But he's going to pick up the outside lane there, right in front of Patrick Groover and Seth Groover, who are nose to tail in the 01, the 02 in that outside lane. It's going to give the lead on the inside to Eric Laurie, who I believe led that lap that time by. And then we see last week's winner, Bud Steele, second car on the inside lane, pushing the 071 at the moment. We got 2 cars all the way up top as well, trying to make the high line work. And I believe that is going to be Brian Wang and Kevin Freese already working their way to the top side. They're going to try and get to the front and see if they can lead a few laps like their teammate did early on. So making quick work of the field and getting all the way to the front so far, as we got 3 wide action, at least 3 rows deep here.
Yeah, those guys on the top side on that third line, they were about 6-7 rows back, and honestly, when you have 2 cars battling on the inside, you have so much air that is being distributed that 2 cars can really just pull just like they did right now. They were literally probably 12th or 13th at the start of the last lap, and now they're sitting there racing for 3 wides. And we got 3x3 action, and it's 2 the rest of the way. But I'm interested to see if the middle line or the outside line is going to die out. One of these lines is definitely going to have to die out, or get some more guys pushing them.
Definitely. We see Seth Groover there in the 0-2, pushing his brother Patrick as much as he can in that middle lane. Not really anybody with a huge advantage, maybe a little bit more to the middle and the outside lanes for the moment, as Patrick and Seth are trying to push their way to the front and get clear of the outside lane. Brian Wang again and Kevin Freese, 2 cars lined up nose to tail. The only 2 cars right now in that third lane, as Peter DeBorgia and Eric Laurie continue. Ooh, a little bit of touch there for the 071. He's going to get back in line. No harm, no foul.
It's a good save.
Yeah, great save. Going to slow down the momentum of the inside line quite a bit there. Looks like Seth's actually going to hang his brother out to dry there, and Patrick's going to be maybe a sitting duck for a minute here in the middle lane.
Yeah, I was kind of a little bit worried there. I didn't know how much time he had left to come back up after he had that little bit of a bobble. But things like that definitely disperse the league, disperse the runs that the guys have right now. We were 3 wide, a lap and a half ago, and now we're pretty much single file. So any type of mess up like that, the momentum of the race can change on a drop of a hat.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like for the most part, Peter DeBorgia and Eric Laurie were unfazed by that, able to stay up here in the front. But you can definitely see as we pull up our blimp cam view how much these drivers have really settled out into single file. We've got at least the top 6, top 7 there that are single file now as they come down the back straightaway. And we'll see. It's going to take a lot to get some of these guys back in line. You see there, one of the Groover brothers, I can tell, is leading that outside lane at the moment, as looks like Bud Steele's going to jump up now and pick up the 0-1 of Patrick Groover and try to make their way back up to the front. But a lot of momentum that was lost that has to be rebuilt there in that outside lane, and Bud Steele's going to be trying to do it to get back to the front here.
Yeah, it was a good pickup right there for Bud Steele to come, get right in front of the 0-1 and get all the way up there. I don't think it's going to be hard for these guys to get that momentum when they need it. It's more of carrying it all the way around when you actually get up front, as you and the front car are kind of both breaking the wind, as I would say, not to be funny or anything like that. But once you get up front, it's kind of just hard to be able to get past the first guy, especially if you're the pusher. So right now, Bud Steele he's hitting the wall right now, and what it's going to take is either the 0-1 to push him past, or the 25 to not necessarily be on the 5 of Brian Wang's bumper. So it's honestly just at this point, who's going to get closer to the next car to get them around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've documented quite a bit in the past how well these Team Bootnaka drivers on the inside, obviously Brian Wang and Kevin Freese there on the inside, have done, have made that teamwork work really well to align and push as much as they possibly can. And you can kind of see it there as Bud really not having enough with the pushes from Patrick Groover to get even and try to make that advantage happen. It's definitely the easiest spot to try and control the race from that lead position, but if you get the right pusher, 2 guys lined up really well in that outside lane, they can make something happen, and it definitely takes a lot of skill to get to that point and push past that bubble, as you mentioned.
Yeah, definitely. And what I'm seeing right now is the outside line. I feel like these guys are starting to want to go 3 wide again. I see the 0-2 looking just a little bit, but as we keep going further back in the field, looks like everyone's kind of just chilling out, just being single file. No one's really trying to push or get close to this front pack again. I think everyone's kind of just settling into their to the groove right now.
Yeah, pretty much everybody in the field is all lined up in this big group here. A couple stragglers towards the back of this front pack, but it's still very, very early on, and everybody is just trying to feel it out and see where their cars are at. And there is one fast repair for all of our drivers, which definitely helps. Gives gives a little bit more comfort with trying to make these moves early on. But if you are in more than one incident, that definitely spells disaster for your night. So you have to be careful about how much you do want to push and trying to risk that having to use that fast repair early on.
Yeah, looking at some of these guys in the back, they're probably half throttled. They're probably saving a little bit of fuel. They might be thinking about strategy right now, pit strategy, where they could go a lap or two further by going 75 or maybe 65% on the throttle. The draft can carry them a decent amount as long as they stay within probably half a second. They're going to be able to kind of save a little bit here. So I'm looking at guys like Guy Brooks, the car behind them, which is Andrew Pileshi, Jeremy Osborne. These guys they're in the group, but if they're 75% throttle or something like that, they can extend their fuel mileage to about a lap or two.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as they're getting close to pit stops. But I believe we might actually have a copy of Gael Brooks there in that number 71 machine, a live interview, as you will. How's it going out there, Gael?
It's going, and yeah, so you guys are right. I wanted to switch my radio channel over here and have a chat with you guys because it's two things. One, you're spot on with the fuel because looking at the fuel numbers, it's actually a little better mileage than I was expecting pre-race. We're actually, right now, me kind of running mid-pack, like I said, saving fuel. It's telling me I can go about 26, maybe 27 laps on fuel, which that extra lap or two, that could put me in a two-stop window instead of one. So I think that's why people have adjusted and have kind of backed the pace down a little bit. And then I heard you guys talking about the damage and the fast repairs. The other big story for these cars is the new damage models. So these cars can get repaired a lot better than they used to be able to, but also a good chance for like suspension damage, things of that nature. So kind of two things to look at. But yeah, so the fuel mileage though is going to be the one to watch, I think, tonight, because I don't know how much these guys are going to be kind of burning that fuel up at the front. So not by plan, but and I expect we'll see the fuel adjusted for future races. So it's a definite 2 or 3 stop race, but just something interesting to keep an eye on for tonight. So yeah, 26, 27 if you're saving.
All right, so it sounds like that'll confirm that should be maybe a 2-stop race depending on how much you lead out front. So yeah, appreciate the insight there, Gael, and wish you the best of luck tonight, buddy.
Appreciate it, guys. Have fun up there.
Yeah, very interesting comments from him. Obviously, iRacing is a simulated streaming service that we all kind of use, and we just recently had our new release build for the new season. And there was some notes about the cars actually getting updated, so this actually might change the way that the league runs. And with that being said, that actually might change some of the mindsets of some of the drivers if they know that they can kind of rough up the car a little bit, get some damage, possibly hit the wall. They might be able to, kind of just stay out there, not necessarily have to pit when they're second or third after a big wreck. They might stay out there and be able to hopefully get the lead or stay up there so they don't have to keep passing people. So that actually is a little bit interesting. I completely forgot about that part, that we just had a big update.
Yeah, no, that was definitely something that slipped my mind as well, and I should know with some of the series that I've run in iRacing that there has been a very big update lately, and definitely looking forward to see how that plays out. There's definitely a lot more damage that can happen to the cars now, and there's also, at least with the previous damage model, smaller hits seem to make more of a difference with damaging the car, especially from a mechanical but also an aero standpoint. And some of those smaller hits have been fixed so they're not as detrimental, which will be interesting to see how that plays out. But not only that, but the potential for different types of damage and the visual aspect of the damage has changed too, where you can actually get quite a bit more. Like you can have a hood pop off, and the hoods have their own physics, and each piece, like bumpers and everything, have their own physics. So it is a simulation. Obviously, people joke it's sometimes just a video game, but there's a lot of physics and a lot of work that goes into making these things as realistic as possible.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember a funny story from maybe a couple years ago when we first had the new NASCAR, possibly Gen 7s, or it was either the last year of the Gen 6s. But I remember that they used to have the bumper would actually hang on to one side or another, and because of that, a lot of cars would glitch. You get a bunch of 0Xs, and sometimes blow the guy behind blow the engine of the guy behind them, because somehow just the way that the game the game or the simulation computed itself, it would end up just causing massive wrecks because cars would just get a bunch of net code. But hopefully they've gotten things straightened out. We've gotten some other things as we see. Oh, there was a little bit of bobble in the back. I saw there, but as I was saying, we've had some good bugs happen because of the updates. Like the Gen 4 car in NASCAR is now kind of up to snuff. I think we have about like 800, 900 horsepower on there, and that thing is fun to drive.
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely a blast to have those Gen 4 cars in the previous season, the middle season of 2023 here on Thursday nights. Obviously, most of the series or most of the league here at Area 51 electing to go back to kind of our bread and butter of the plate style racing, but it was a lot of fun to watch those guys battle it out in those cars last season. But definitely back to the Xfinity Series cars, and appreciative to see these guys doing what they do week in, week out around these high-banked super speedway tracks. As get you caught up just a little bit here on some of the action that you've seen on screen. We've got Bud Steele now leading that inside line ahead of Brian Wang and Kevin Freese. The outside lane is Patrick Groover, David Overstreet, and Seth Groover. They've been pretty much lined up there towards that outside lane most of the night, so it'll be interesting to see as we get closer to, I think Guy said we'll probably be within about 8 laps of our fuel window here. Everyone in that outside lane is going to be trying to get to the bottom there. As we see, it looks like David Overstreet's going to step aside there and try to get out of that outside lane and try to fall a little bit further back, but that will reunite the brothers of Patrick and Seth as they continue to pretty much exclusively work on the high side as we've seen them do so well in the past.
Yeah, David probably got out of line. I think he probably ran a little bit hot. He was honestly just a one-man show pushing that outside line for a little bit. So his car probably got a little bit hot. He's probably just cooling it off there. But these guys are also probably just setting themselves up for some pitting as David Overstreet goes all the way to the bottom. And now we only have 3 cars in the outside right now. So you're going to see some guys start shifting. And I think some play calls are being made. I think Team Bootknocker is going to be one of the first teams on pit road.
Yeah, for sure. You're talking about that outside lane, and I want to highlight Adam Kilday for just a minute here. He is our highest mover by quite a bit right now. He is up 22 spots. Obviously, electing not to qualify helps with that, but he is running here in the top 5 at the moment. 3rd car in that outside lane. A good night for him so far as he tries to stay towards the front of this pack after moving up. 23 spots shown in the 4th position as Seth is going to get, Patrick, is going to get clear to the inside, and now it's just going to be Seth Groover and Adam Kilday on that outside. They're making a lot happen there. Would be curious to see if Bud Steele was trying to save a little bit of fuel there at the front, which allowed them to get in front, and it looks like Seth's almost going to have a chance to maybe jump down in line. If he does that, it's going to definitely hurt Adam. We'll have to wait and see what happens there, but you can kind of see some of these guys trying to make these moves to get inside and get ready for hopefully green flag pit cycle here.
Yeah, all Groover front row right there. I know the Groover family is excited to see that. I don't know which one they would pull for more, or who gets more presents during Christmas, whoever's going to win this. But awesome to see. I love seeing families in this business and in this league. I know we got the Groovers right here, the Groover brothers. We got the Brooks family on occasion. Sometimes all 3 of them. As the Groovers go right back up. I forget which one it is. I think it's Patrick's Groover.
In the lead,
right? Yeah, Patrick's in the lead right now. Sometimes I get confused, but. Yeah, he's in the lead. Bud Steele's right back down at the bottom. I think these guys are going to probably start falling back, I would say, or they're going to stay out and just let the inside line pit and probably extend their pit strategy here.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see for sure. Definitely burns a lot more fuel if you are that first car in line, so we will see how far they can go. Bud Steele only been leading for a few laps here, which is helping Brian Wang. He was kind of leading the field for quite a while, so he probably has some of the least amount of fuel in this front pack, but you see it now. It almost looks like there's more drivers that are trying to get back to 2-wide action, as now we've got the 83 of Jack Walls at the back of this outside lane, and I think that's number 16 Nathan Warner there, tucked between the 85 and the 83 at the moment, as we are working on lap number 21. It'll be 22 as they cross the stripe this time by.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I don't know why these guys are getting racy. Usually, right now we would start hearing some calls. I think we might actually start probably hearing some calls or some cars kind of wiggling down the backstretch here right now. I feel like this is probably going to be the lucky number that these guys are going to try to come down. But if you can extend, I think that as the best play here. But we might see some pit strategy play out right about now.
Yeah, we will see. We heard Gael early on in this one as he came up in the booth. He was talking about, the O2 tried to get down with his brother, but didn't have enough room, unfortunately. But we heard Gael talk about 25, 26, maybe even 27 laps further back in the field. Now, for guys like Patrick Groover and Bud Steele and the 05 machine of Brian Wang, guys who have spent a lot of time leading at the front of this pack, they're not going to be able to do that for sure. They're not going to go that far because they've been full throttle at certain points, at least for a few laps here. But you'll see the 85 of Adam Kildare. He's going to drop to the inside line. It's going to leave Seth and Patrick to the outside line. Going to have the 16 just a little bit further back there. But I would be very surprised if we don't see some of these front runners coming in the next couple laps for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You're starting to see more aggressive moves, definitely to get to the bottom and get yourself clear. All the setup to honestly go from 100, 190, 195 miles per hour all the way down to about 50, I believe, is the pit road speed limit, 50 or 55. So when these guys come off pit road, it's one of those weird things that feels like it's happening in slow motion, but at the same time, it is all ever changing. You'll see some guys almost hit each other. You have some guys spinning. Some people just cannot get welled up, but it is a long trek all the way to pit road if you get it wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. As you see the 01 and the 02 machines trying to jump back, supposedly would assume they're trying to find a line in or a hole in the inside line to get back and line up for their pit stops as Bud Steele continues to lead at the front of this one. But yeah, it's definitely I mean it's almost like a choreographed art, and pit in and pit out, getting in and off of pit road is such a huge thing here at this super speedway style racing, especially under green flag conditions, as we see a lot of the field is going to split off this time by as a little bit sideways there for Bud not Bud Steele, Brian Wanger.
I think he got hit just a little bit.
Yeah, trying to
I think there's just a little bit of contact coming in, but otherwise, other than that, I think everyone got in. I didn't see no tire smoke or anything like that. But it's one of those things where you're trying to brake, you can't necessarily turn, out of the way of another car when you're trying to get around them. But it looked like everyone did all right. But after this first set of guys come in, usually we see a second pack, and then you have one set of guys that kind of always try to extend it all the way up until fuel goes out. But I think we have some people already out of fuel on the backstretch.
Yeah, is that I'm not sure. I can't see which car that is this time.
I thought I saw somebody really slow on the backstretch coming out, but our second group is in right now. Looks like they all got in relatively neat as well. But this is hectic.
Yeah, for sure. So the first time we had it was Brian Wang, David Bone, Bud Steele, Kevin Freese, Adam Kildare in the first group of cars on pit road. This next group being led by Peter DeBorgia and Gabe Butler, as well as Seth Groover, Eric Laurie, Carl Lingle, Aubrey Thompson, who was leading at the time they came down pit road. This is going to leave a few drivers out here. So Austin Call, Brandon Paul, Maxwell Caldwell, Jack Walls, and Andrew Palesci, your top five as they run, are going to find their way still leading around the speedway. Lap number 26, this is going to help these guys quite a bit for their fuel numbers, and we'll have to wait and see where the rest of the field merges as these five are going to come down pit road this time by and make sure they get down cleanly here. Is almost a little bit of contact, bit sideways there for Andrew Palesci there in the not the 82 machine. Brandon Paul there got a little bit sideways there in that 03 McDonald's machine, but he makes his way onto pit road, and we're going to see Gabe Butler, Peter DeBorgia, and Gael Brooks leading this line out of pit road here. The first group that pitted, though, currently led by David Bone, is going to actually have quite a bit more speed, as him and Kevin Freese, as well as Adam Kildare, are going to be on the outside lane. They are going to have the advantage in that lane to push past the second group that pitted. And some of our leaders here are going to be from that first pit cycle, as the 25 is going to get right down in front of his teammate there. And Jack Walls is also going to, David Bone is going to get in front there in the 33 machine. But as they come off pit road, Maxwell Caldwell here, you see not up to speed yet. Austin Call just behind him, and you're going to see the rest of the field blow right by them for pitting a couple laps earlier and having a little bit better strategy as they come in and off of pit road that we mentioned, Chris, was so crucial.
Yeah, that was a great shot on the backstretch to see the speed disparity between the leading pack, or I guess the pack that's coming back around, and the guys that are just now getting out of the pits. When that happens, you're trying to be able to nicely kind of merge yourself back into that bottom line, and you have these guys that are the leaders. The leaders they can see what's in front of them, but not all the times do they let the line know, hey, we got some guys on the bottom. We need to kind of come up. So unfortunately, or fortunately for us, we didn't have a quote unquote Kevin LePage situation, but that can often happen when you're having these pit cycles.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see how much of a gap we have now between some of the packs in the field. The first 10 drivers or so, all the way back to Brian Wang here in that 05 machine, are in this first group. Maxwell Caldwell is about 0.6 of a second back, being pushed by Austin Call. And they should have enough momentum here to get up to this front pack. As we mentioned, they're too wide in front of them, and they will catch here this time by. I think even this pack of Carl Lingle, Aubrey Thompson, and Andrew Pileshi might even have the opportunity to get up to the front pack as well. But that too wide action at the front of the pack punches such a larger hole in the air and helps some of these guys drafting further back to catch up. As long as you're within about a second or so of the car in front of you, eventually you can start making your way back to the front, and almost exclusively by the help of it being too wide there for quite a while, as now we're going to see if Jack Walls can continue to get back up to this front pack. He is about 0.6 of a second and has momentum, it looks like here, but I'll be curious if any of these drivers manage to break off here further back. Corey Buskirk is looking like he is catching up as well, so I think most of the field here is actually going to be able to catch up to this pack, thanks to most of the drivers in the front running double file for quite a while there.
Yeah, and trying to do the math, I think the latest these guys came down was lap 27. So guys like Jack Walls, Andrew Pileshi, that helps them. That helps them tremendously to be able to extend their fuel run and then stay with this pack. And for them to gain two laps, and if they try to extend it, even more, that's just going to put them in such a perfect position to extend this race right now. As I see Jack Walls trying by himself to get all the way back up into the front line. He might try to slide down here, but he had such a great run by himself right there.
Yeah, definitely using that side draft to his advantage, trying to pull the cars in the inside lane back by dumping air onto their spoilers, and he's made some progress pretty much by himself there in that outside lane. But one interesting thing I do want to mention here, we got a couple drivers here at the front of this pack that actually pitted on lap 24 at the first pit cycle. That'll include Patrick Groover and David Bone, as well as Kevin Freese and Adam Kilday. So some of these guys that are leading this race right now are also some of the drivers who pitted earliest, which means that they're not going to be able to save nearly as much here in this second run. Assuming we go green flag, they're definitely going to have to save at least one more lap of fuel, and being at the front may not be the easiest way to do it, but we'll have to wait and see how this works now as Seth Groover there finds his brother, and they're going to actually split each other. Seth's going to go high, and Patrick is going to stay on the inside line, still being pushed by the 85 machine of Adam Kilday. They've been working really well together most of the night, and David Bone in that 33 machine is going to find himself in the third place right now.
Yeah, I think we had a little bit of a hiccup there. I think there was a lap down car that decided to stay on the bottom, and the rest of the pack had to maneuver out the way, and it broke up the pack a little bit. So I think that's why we had such a big space right there. And right now, I think he's still in there, so he might be fighting for a lucky dog. Hopefully, he doesn't get into a wreck so he can get his lap back. But yeah, that broke up the pack quite a bit. There's not a real strong bottom line right now, so everyone's kind of running the top, and I think they're kind of just slowing up and trying to push.
Yeah, definitely. That was Richard Bernies in the number 73 machine that you saw there. It almost looked intentional, like they were trying to pick him up and help him get into the pack here. We're going to have a couple more cars that are further off of the pace. We've got this pack of 23 cars here at the lead of this race. We've got further back, though, Jeremy Osborne in the number 41 machine and Brandon Paul, who we saw get a little bit squirrely on the entrance of pit road during his pit cycle. They are about 14 seconds back off of the back of the lead pack. Going back another 12 seconds is this group here with Bob Fitzgerald, Ambrose Knievel, and Nathan Warner, who are running a little bit slower, about 3 to 4 tenths lap slower than the front pack or the main pack from first through 23rd. So these guys are probably going to be picked up eventually by our leaders. So as of right now, Richard Burney is the only car one lap down. He is kind of towards the back of the 2 wide action in the front pack, and eventually will likely be trying to battle for the lucky dog spot as he finds himself in 29th. But again, first car one lap down. If a caution were to come out, he would be getting his lap back. But at the front of this one, it is the Groover brothers once again controlling inside and outside lines, the 01 and 02 machines, trying to do what they can. Oh, there's a little bit of contact between the brothers. Nope, we're good. We're rolling forward. Definitely a scary moment.
It looks like the one of the Groover brothers. I think that was Seth. I think he's having a little bit of trouble just getting into the corner, just holding this line just ever so slightly. But that's very hard to do when you have a car pushing you, and you kind of have the back end kind of just lift off just a little bit. But a little bit of aggressive pushing. I know these guys are trying to kind of get settled out here, but I know that the way that things have been going, it's been a little bit aggressive. Not everyone's been holding such a clean line as the Groover brothers are back up top.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Chris, but typically I race some of my friends harder than I race any of my competitors that I'm not friends with. So who knows? Maybe that was the case there, where they're just running each other really hard. Maybe a little bit of a brother rivalry there, but they're still doing everything they can to control the front of this one as they are working on the outside lane now, lined up nose to tail. Adam Kilday is going to be on the inside line. And it looks like Patrick is going to get that lap led that time by. So the 85 machine of Adam Kilday leading the inside line with the push from the 33 Mustang of David Bone. And I believe that's Jack Walls just behind them there in that third car inside lane. We've got Patrick and Seth in the outside lane. The Groover brothers, as well as the 6 machine of Bud Steele, looking to now jump to the inside lane is that number 6 Navy machine, as they are going to, or he's going to be trying to win his second race of the season. Again, second race of the season, so he's the only winner so far, but he's going to try and be the first multiple race winner and spoil the party. If not, then someone else will be the first time winner of the season tonight here at Daytona. Working on lap number 36, coming to lap 37 this time by, Chris.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like the rest of the field, though, it feels like there's just a lot of agitation with some bump and runs going. I know these guys, like to push for all it's worth, but it looks like some of these bump and runs are getting a little bit, feels like they're a little bit agitating, a little bit aggressive, I would say. But we'll see what happens. I know we're getting ready to, we're about 5 or 8 laps away from our next set of pit stops, but we see the 85 kind of just go for the middle and bow out as the Groover brothers are up top, and I think it was just a smart change right there. I don't think someone wanted to lead that. I don't think the 85 wanted to lead.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely fortunate that the 68 machine, he's going to actually get to the inside line, but that outside lane wasn't formed behind them, because that could have spelled disaster for Adam if he would have got sucked through the middle all the way to the back. But that outside lane kind of really dissipating behind the 01, the 02, and the 85 there, as most of the cars now are really working on that inside lane right now.
Yeah, I think there's some people in the back, or at least in the middle of this pack. I feel like there's some people that are just trying to whoa up a little bit, try to get a better fuel mileage race here, and not necessarily stay in the gas. So I'm not sure if the inside line is trying to check up just ever so slightly, and the outside lane can't get in front. So it's almost a stalemate of strategies right now, I think, at going 195 miles per hour.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see how this one plays out, but we should be getting pretty close to that next pit cycle, as you mentioned, Chris. A couple cars on the outside lane are going to have to find their way to the bottom to get pit service, but we'll have to wait and see. This is definitely the stop that you really have no options. You have to make sure that when you pit here, you can go the distance for the rest of the race. If you pit too early and have to come in one more time, your night is completely over. There's definitely chances to save, but this is not the time that you want to be conservative and trying to save as much fuel as you can. You have to be in a position to go the rest of the way without saving from here, so you can be aggressive and make those moves that you want to make to win races, including the move that the Groover brothers just made, driving from the top to the bottom. They're going to find their hole on the bottom the hard way, earning their spot at the front of the pack, so they've got a spot so that they can pit in the next 10 laps or so.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like the 33 kind of backed off with these guys up front, and now we got the 85 and the 40 up top. They might try to fight for their spot down low, but I think people are trying to kind of, make their bed, set their strategy in place. And if you're all the way in the back, you're not even in this pack or in the draft. You're kind of hoping that these guys have a little bit of an incident, either getting on pit road or even a caution that might come out. So right now, you're seeing everyone kind of just bundle up just a little bit to see how much they can save. But they've definitely backed down the pace. I see a couple cars. Maxwell Caldwell, Andrew Pleshy, Aubrey Thompson. A lot of these guys are kind of running around like 183, 185 miles per hour, and they're staying with the pack. So that means that everyone's kind of just backing off the throttle right now.
Yeah, you can see how it's a little more, not disconnected, but not quite aggressive at pushing towards the back of this pack here. Definitely guys trying to save as much more fuel as they possibly can, but I'm still interested to see, we mentioned you got to have the fuel numbers there. Unfortunately, looks like Peter DeBorge is going to drop to the inside line. That's going to leave nobody to push the 85 machine, and he may fall all the way back if he cannot find a hole in the bottom lane, but it looks like Peter DeBorge is going to open one for him there, thankfully, and we'll be single file here through the entirety of this 23-car lead pack, but still interested to see here. Patrick Groover is one of the guys who pitted at lap number 24, which means he needs to save at least one lap from that first cycle and another lap during this cycle if he wants to pit on lap 50 to be able to make it all the way to the end. But we'll have to wait and see. If he can only go 24 laps every pit cycle, that's not going to be enough fuel to get to the end. As we mentioned, that's going to be very important. You don't want to be in a position here where you are conservative and have to save fuel. You want to be in a position to push as much as you can in the later stages of the race.
Yeah, and you see somebody kind of like Giovanni in the 000 car. I love when people have triple numbers. It brings me back to the old days. But he's the attachment right now to somebody like Brian Wang, who's still in this front pack. So Giovanni and 000 is bringing along the Brooks family, and then it's bringing along two more cars behind that, and then every second or so it's just the rest of the field. So that is a very important car to stay attached to. If I was one of the Brooks family there, and that kind of just keeps you attached. But that's why you don't want to stay directly off the gas if you can help it. You want to be able to stay with the pack and stay in the draft, but not necessarily falling off.
Yeah, absolutely. As we got a change for the lead here, Gabe Butler coming back to the front after qualifying P1. He's going to find his way all the way around the outside to the number one spot in the inside lane. He had help from Dean Wilkinson and Charles Johnson as well, who are going to continue to try and make their way to the front. But another thing to mention, we've already highlighted how important green flag pit cycles were. We had a lead pack of 29 cars at the beginning of this race, and we are now down to 23 cars, 24 if you include the one lap down car of Richard Bernius as well in this lead pack. But that position of where you're pitting from in relation, that track position in relation to the pack makes a huge difference as far as where you're going to be when you pit as well. So that's definitely important to mention. You see some of these guys like Gabe Butler, Dean Wilkinson, Charles Johnson haven't spent a lot of time at the front, but right before what would be, we would assume, the last green flag pit cycle is definitely an important time to try and make as much ground as you can as you move towards the front, including the number 71 machine of Gael Brooks and Maxwell Caldwell. Friends of the broadcast, Gael really, basically our boss here at Green White Checker TV, and Maxwell Caldwell, a former broadcaster here, they know what it takes to get around these super speedways, and they're trying to make their moves up to the front as we got a lot of two-wide action about 9 rows deep now.
Yeah, the shocking turn of events. This is a turn right back into a race instead of a pace for the pit party right there. As I think the 33 got knocked. The 94's in the wall.
We got some caution.
I think
chaos happening behind.
Oh no!
I think a yellow is going to be thrown here. Yep.
Yeah.
So I think all that started because the number 94 machine was trying to find a hole in that inside lane, and we'll see if we can take you back to the moment of that action here.
I thought that was going to be a good save, but just unfortunate. I think it was too much of a checkup for some people.
See if we've got a good spot here for the replay, as most of the action has actually already happened. We'll rewind that here just a second for you, as we'll keep an eye on this number 94 machine, as I think most of this starts from his vantage point. As we're going to back up to the tri-oval here, 3 wide, try and find a good camera angle for you here. It's got the number 94 Looks like Captain Crunch all Barry's machine tonight. He's going to try and find a hole in that inside lane.
Yeah, it looked like there was just enough, but maybe right at the end of his run. I think that was right what happened. Yeah, it looks like the 33 just got into the back of him, probably just sent him a little loose.
Yeah, it looks like he got a little bit of a shove from the 33 after that initial contact was just barely clear there, and as you see, he gets a little bit loose and comes back down. The 33 machine is going to find his way onto the apron, and then the 94 as well, which definitely is going to stack up quite a bit of cars. The 33 doing everything he can to save that car at that moment, and pretty much everyone just kind of checking back behind them. You see, it looks like the bumper cover of Bud Steele. Yeah, the Navy rear bumper cover coming off that new damage model that we talked about there, as Bud Steele is also going to go for a ride there off the nose of the 83 machine of Jack Walls. But a little bit of checkup. Doesn't look like there's too much damage for a couple drivers. Bud Steele thankfully avoiding
5. Oh my gosh.
Avoiding some big damage there, as we'll see. Did you see some big damage for the 05 machine?
No, not the 05. He kind of just dived out the way for that wreck. I think really only 2 or 3 cars really had damage out of that when it really could have been the big one. So we're a little bit lucky in that fashion, and I think Bud Steele can get his damage repaired, especially if they go in the truck, go get whatever flew off and slap it back on there. But yeah, it wasn't that bad of a wreck. It was just pretty much a checkup, and unfortunately, not everyone can hit the brakes at the same time, with milliseconds within each other. So a little bit of a bad, unfortunate break for Bud Steele. But I think his car is going to be all right, and if need be, he does have a fast repair.
Yeah, we'll see. I would assume that some people may try to avoid taking that fast repair. But we'll see, as pit cycles have actually already happened. Most of the field coming down there on lap 46, except for the 40 machine here of Peter DeBorgia. He is going to be a lonely guy on the back on the track, as he's the only one who did not pit this time by. Would assume he'll probably be coming down this second time by, but electing to grab a bonus point and a lap led there, which is definitely some smart strategy on his point. If you can't lead a lap under green flag conditions, one of the easiest ways to do it is under yellow flag, so that will be a bonus point for him for the evening. And as far as pit cycles go, Charles Johnson electing to only take 2 tires, as well as Jack Walls, are going to come out in front of the field. Gabe Butler, first car on 4 tires, with Seth Groover, Austin Call, Guile Brooks, and Dean Wilkinson all taking 4 tires behind them. Bud Steele, the next car, with 2 tires, and pretty much the rest of the field coming down, taking 4 tires. Couple guys, looks like Brian Wang repairing about 20 seconds of damage on his pit stop. Corey Buskirk about 36 seconds of damage. Aubrey Thompson about 20 seconds of damage for that 38 machine as well. So we'll have to wait and see. But a lot of guys looking to come down pit road again this time by and top off on fuel, as I think the first car stayed out was the 71 machine of Guile Brooks. Bud Steele also staying out, and Jim Brooks staying out as well here. The only 3 drivers who have not pitted this time by. Everybody else electing to grab 1 extra lap of fuel. Chris, do you think that's going to be important come the end of this race?
Yeah, I definitely think so. But that all might be negated if we actually do go green, white, checkered. But lap 48 right now, we still got a couple laps right now. I think the lights on pace car is out, so we will be going the green this time by, I believe, hopefully. But if we can get more, if you can get another set of fuel in, I think these guys might be set themselves up perfectly for the end of this race.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be green flag on lap 49, which means we'll have to go 26 laps to the end of this one, which we know that drivers can do under green flag conditions. The only interesting thing for Guile Brooks, Bud Steele, and Jim Brooks is that they're going to be at the front of it leading it. And we mentioned we don't know if those drivers who are at the front of the pack going full throttle have the ability to go that many laps. So we'll see. It's definitely a big strategy play for these 3 front runners, as they're going to try and grab that track position and hold onto it as much as they can, but they may not be as safe on fuel as some of the guys in the field who came back down that second lap. So that'll start with Jack Walls in the number 83 machine. One other thing that's interesting to note, Chris, is that everybody who pitted twice or on that second pit cycle there is going to start single file in the inside lane. So we're going to start single file pretty much to the entire field for this restart here.
That's absolutely amazing. Now this almost feels like IndyCar for a little bit, but well, these guys probably by the time we get on the back stretch will be too wide and passing Gael since he will be the only one up front right now.
We'll have to wait and see on this restart, see if anybody manages to hold back and try to get a jump on the field, as we're going to see the 6 machine of Bud Steele jump in behind the 71 machine of Gael Brooks. And we've got another caution here.
What happened?
As a checkup on the restart here, we had a caution, and we are going to take you to that action here now. Man, right as soon as within a couple seconds of the green flag being thrown, we're going to see where all this started. Ooh, looks like the 64 machine potentially of Austin Call. We'll back it up here and get his perspective of what happened here. We'll just rewind.
Yeah,
this one for you.
I think either that was a misshift or he just never got into the next gear. But either way, his car was slow coming through the run up, and that's not enough time for the people in the back to even know, even if he did call it out. But yeah, that just like he just got pushed, and you go and push so far before the car goes one way or another.
Yeah, absolutely. As Gael rolls to the Geico restart zone here, he'll start picking up the throttle momentarily on the replay. You'll see Bud Steele getting back inside, but the action's going to be from at least 5th or 6th on back. As you see the 88 getting a big run, having to check up a little bit there for the 83 machine, and it pretty much just looks like an accordion effect at that point. Unfortunately, the 64 machine of Austin Call getting shuffled out as he makes a contact with the 02 machine. It's going to be a decent amount of contact with the outside wall for the 02 and the 64 machine. As you see, the 02 goes for a wild ride up the banking there, and going to collect some damage with just a little bit of a scrape on the side of the 071 as the 38 machine going to plow into Seth Groover there, and that's where you see we picked up. He was pretty much stopped there on pit road, that's Carl Lingle in the 98 machine. Excuse me, the 98 machine scored as the 30 machine in iRacing right now, but they made some contact into this one. But it looks like most of our field now jumping live. Everyone is going to be on pit road trying to take more fuel at least.
Yeah, I think no doubt about our field mileage right now. With this caution coming out, I think that helped out some guys that had some questionable circumstances right there. I don't think they knew if they were, could completely make it. But with the caution happening now, I think everyone's good to go. So this might get real racy, real quick.
Yeah, I think that caution boded well for the 71, 6, and 51 machines because they get to keep their track position and they've got enough fuel to get to the end just as everybody else does. Looks like Brandon Paul, Nathan Warner, Patrick Groover, Seth Groover, Brian Wang, Jack Walls on pit road right now trying to repair more damage. So they will be towards the back of the pack for this restart as it looks like some of those guys are already elected to take a fast repair, I believe. So they're going to have, looks like Patrick Groover's already got about a minute of damage repaired. Brian Wang as well. Seth Groover about 13 seconds now in the pit stall as they're going to try and repair some damage. But as we are under caution, we'll take you to a quick commercial break and we will be right back.
40 Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 40 racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 40racewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
And we see here we are just about ready to go back to green flag action off of turn number 4. The number 71 machine of Guile Brooks now with plenty of fuel in that Ford Mustang ready to go the distance. And we see about 8 cars here lined up, double file, the rest electing to come down a second time for more fuel at the end of this one as we are green flag and underway. These stock car machines ready to rumble into turn number 1 as we are less than 23 laps to go in this one here tonight.
Yeah, with everyone having as much fuel as they need to get to the end of this race, I expect to see some 3-wide action fairly soon, unless these guys still want to play a little bit timid. But we see that outside line backing up ever so slightly, but that doesn't mean that they're gone forever.
Definitely not. Expect to see those guys coming back to the front as we're going to have some 3-wide action there. Looks like Kevin Freese is going to make his way to the outside lane here. Going to try and see what he can do, pulling Peter DeBorgia in tow, and the 85 machine of Adam Kilday, as well as the 16 machine, trying to throw a little bit of a side draft there as he's pushing the 68 of David Overstreet in that middle lane here. Guile Brooks in the 71 machine with 2 Fords behind him, the 6 of Bud Steele and his father, Jim Brooks, still commanding that inside lane so far as we are 1 lap after the restart here. Gonna have a little bit more momentum for Kevin Freese in that number 25 machine in that outside lane here. As we get to some 3-wide action, though, I think it's time for a little bit of crank it up here, Chris.
Oh, definitely. Let's hear it.
Action ramping up at the front of this one as we see, looks like Bud Steele getting out of line there. Unfortunately, a little bit of a moment for the inside lane. They were 3-wide action, but that's going to break it up. Peter DeBorgia is going to take over the top spot from the outside lane with the 85 machine of Adam Kilday pushing him. 25 of Kevin Freese and 16 of David Overstreet on the inside lane at the moment. We're going to try and get some 3-wide action. It looks like further back going at some point, but so far we're going to settle out 2x2 for about 6 rows deep. And plenty of action with 20 laps to go in this one, Chris.
Yeah, crazy how majestic that is when it goes 3 wide. Someone gets bumped out of the line. Just kind of how the energy flows. That these guys go right back to two lines right there. If I'm Gael, if I'm Jim, if I'm the 16, I'm sitting in that bottom line for better or worse. I don't think I can go any farther back than I am right now if I don't do anything. But definitely, I think if I sit on that bottom line, the worst that can happen is I just get wrecked from someone turning from the outside down into me. So I would just stay on that bottom line, just hope for the best if someone kind of gets out of line right now.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see as we're trying to get some 3-wide action going on the outside there. Looks like the 05 machine of Brian Wang is trying to grab the 94 and the 64 of Austin Call as they move to the outside now. It's going to put Peter DeBorgia in the 40 machine in the middle lane with that 85 Kilday. Maxwell Caldwell leading that outside line, just trying to get clear of the rear bumper of that 85 and make a move to the outside. He's got Austin Call there, it looks like, and now he does have a push from the 64 machine of Austin Call, and they're going to get that outside lane going as the 05 of Brian Wang is actually going to come into the middle lane this time, pushing the 85 and the 40 in front of them. But Kevin Freese is still going to be working on that inside lane, being pushed by the 68 of David Overstreet. He is going to be in control of this one so far on that inside lane, but Peter DeBorgia is going to get the lap led this time by in that number 40 extralife.org machine.
Yeah, no, I know that. Ooh, that was a pretty bad bump right there. But I know when you're on the outside line, you want to be as close to the bottom line when there's a car underneath you, so the science of the how air works can disrupt them, so you can guys stay side by side. But when you're in that third line, if you stay close to the wall, you actually don't have to really defeat that proportion of the line right there in the middle of the line. So these guys were, just kind of squeezing a little bit. They don't necessarily have to do that. They do a third line. We've seen 2 cars pretty much past 6 rows of cars before on the outside line. So I think when these guys try it again, I think they're going to be a little bit more smarter about it.
Yeah, we'll see who's going to be the brave one to make that third lane happen. As you saw towards the back of the screen there, the nose of the blue machine of Maxwell Caldwell, he got into that inside lane, or that got down to the middle lane, I should say, from the outside lane safely this time, as he's going to tuck in behind the 33 instead of trying to come in front of him, as that was what brought out our first yellow of the night. Peter DeBorge is still going to be working in that outside lane with the 85 of Adam Kilday. Both drivers, well, especially Adam, have had a lot of time up at the front of this pack. Peter has had his moments here as well. Kevin Freese trying to make what he can happen on the inside lane, getting a push from David Overstreet as David jumps up just a little bit there on corner entry. 16 machine of Nathan Warner also going to be the third car on that inside lane. You see Guile Brooks and Jim Brooks there, 4th and 5th in that inside lane, still enjoying that track position that they had at the last restart. And a couple other drivers further back in the field. Pretty much everybody in this pack, all 27 cars on the lead lap, and then we've also got Jack Walls. I believe right now the only car 1 lap down is, looks like Richard Bernius has retired for the evening, so we do have one whole pack right now with 16 laps to go. Everybody's got enough fuel to make it to the end, and the aggression is just going to keep ramping up from here as we see the 94 and the 64 picking up the 88 of Gabe Butler, trying to make that third lane happen one more time, seeing what they can do. Gabe trying to get back to the front after leading the first lap and pretty much staying out of chaos, as we have chaos behind us. Yellow's going to come out.
Wow, that they almost had that one, but yeah, just a little too late right there.
Man, that was a big hit. We'll go back there and see who that was here. Yeah, by this time it's already kind of happened. Don't really have a great point to take you to a replay, so I apologize. We're just gonna have to rewind it and see where it happened. You see a couple cars kind of backwards there in the pack, and we're gonna get a view from Bud Steele here. It looks like, as we will take a replay. Bud Steele in the middle lane there, the 0-0-0 just ever so slowly coming up, and he's going to make hard contact with that outside wall in front of the 6 machine, and the 82 machine looks like the 03 is, wow, just barely going to get slowed down in time to avoid any further damage. We see a couple cars further back sliding as the 000 is going to slide backwards down into the, almost hits the double, or the 02.
Close.
Man, 00 slides all the way to the inside wall. Didn't really have a chance to lock the brakes up there at all. Hit a lot of speed going into the inside wall and almost collects another driver. But I think for the most part, the biggest one that hurt the most is probably going to be this 000 of Giovanni Occhipinti.
Yeah, kind of worried about Bud Steele in that 6 again. He was already in one of the wrecks earlier tonight, but I'm not sure if he'll get a fast repair or just try to repair this car right now. So hopefully he saved it from the last one and he can stay in this race.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a view from the cockpit here of the 6 machine to see how this one unfolded real quick. And you see they're obviously racing really tight. The 000 just kind of slightly unable to hold a line on the bottom, it looks like. Not sure if a little bit of side draft got him a little bit loose, but definitely some big contact for the 6 machine of Bud Steele, as well as the 82 of Andrew Pileshi, as the 000 comes up and hits the wall in front of them. But we'll jump back live here. Couple cars coming down pit road. We'll jump back live here if we can. There we go. Thank you, OBS, for playing along. Kevin Freese is going to stay out, as well as most of the field here. A couple guys towards the further back in the pack: Austin Call, Patrick Groover, Seth Groover, Aubrey Thompson, Corey Buskirk, and Jeremy Osborne, all electing to get 4 tires and fuel, as they are going to try and be able to handle a little bit better than the rest of the field and have plenty of additional fuel for the rest of the race. At this point, more fuel doesn't really help too much, other than the fact that more fuel will actually help loosen the car up a little bit, which on a super speedway doesn't really matter too much. But Typically, the less fuel you have in the car, the tighter it gets, but again, handling not that much of an issue, but Chris, I know you've experienced this. When you get towards the later stages of the tire wear, even at a super speedway like Daytona, there is a little bit of wear there, and your car can't quite stick as much as you want it to in certain situations, especially late in the race, making big moves.
Yeah, definitely. And usually when these guys come to pit, they don't take tires, and if that happens, 2 or 3 times during the race, you're slamming on the brakes to get down to your pit road speed limit. So when it's coming down to the end of the race, and you haven't taken any tires, or even if you've had a wreck and you've kind of wasted your tires there. When you're on that bottom line or even in the middle line, you're just not holding it correctly, and there's nothing really you can do. You're kind of just trying your best to move with the flow of the traffic right now, and then you're going to be snaking down the backstretch anyhow. So unfortunately, sometimes one person goes left, another person goes right, and ends up being one person's quarter panel. And next thing you know, you start seeing cars sideways numbers, cars upside down, and that's usually kind of how we have the big one. But coming to the end of this race, I think we're going to see a lot of guys try to either take tires if they haven't already, or be able to just ride that outside line. So you're going to see some guys with some bad tires try to make some bold moves here.
Definitely, but before we get to that restart, we're going to try and squeeze in a quick commercial break from our sponsor, 4D Racewear.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
And you see lights off on the pace truck. They are going to dip down onto pit road. And these machines are going to go back to battle with these drivers. Currently 26 cars on the lead lap as they get up through the gears, led by the 25 bow tie of Kevin Freese. Into turn number 1 as we are less than 12 laps to go here in this one of the scheduled 75 on the night. Good pushes so far on the inside and outside lanes as Kevin Freese is going to pull David Overstreet along, and Peter DeBorgia is going to have the 85.
Oh, we have chaos in the back.
And we got more action in the back of the pack, it looks like. Trying to see, looks like Austin Call might have been involved. Seth Groover might have been involved, but we'll have to wait and see here as we can pull up a replay.
Yeah, I think Austin might have gotten turned during a pass or something like that. I know he was trying to make his way back up to the front.
Oh yeah, you see there. Austin called the 64 machine.
Yeah, just looked like he got right reared. Not sure if they knew that they were going to be 3 wide, but unfortunately 2 cars came together, and then 2 became 4 essentially right there.
Yeah, it looks like Corey Buskirk in the 988 machine makes a little bit of contact with Austin Call in that number 64 Mellow Yellow machine. 82 of Andrew Pileshi also with a little bit of damage. And we'll keep following along to see if anybody else had any additional damage. It doesn't look like it. As we'll see, Seth Groover does actually come back up the banking there, and he's going to hit head on to the outside wall. That was still a big hit.
Ooh.
And him and Andrew Pileshi were going to get collected there, unfortunately. More damage probably for the 02 machine, but you see the hood pop up of that 82 machine of Andrew Pileshi. Again, thankful to the new damage model. And looked like we saw Bud Steele was on pit road at the time, so not sure what was happening to him. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be Corey Buskirk, Austin Call, Seth Groover getting most of the brunt of that damage. But we'll jump back live and we'll see if we can re-rack them, stack them, and try this restart thing again. So that'll be our 4th caution of the night. Peter DeBorgia still going to have that lead in that number 40 machine. Ambrose Canilo's going to come down pit road this time. Not quite sure unless he's just trying to get fresh tires maybe. Andrew Pleshy also coming down. I think Andrew's coming down to fix some damage. Looks like Seth Groover and Bud Steele are still on pit road. Not sure where Bud Steele was at, but I know he was already on pit road by the time that action actually happened. So we will see. But most of the field not pitting there. All top 20, 21 cars or so just staying out on the staying off of pit road, staying out on the track. Again, not needing any more fuel for the rest of this one. So at this point, you kind of have what you have. You know, if you collect any more damage at any point from any other cautions or any other wrecks, you just kind of have to roll with it. And if your car's not too damaged, you may not even elect to even go down pit road and repair it. But we'll take one more quick break and hear from our sponsor, 4D Racewear, once again.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
The tension is building here with less than 9 laps to go. It'll be 8 laps to go by the time we cross the stripe on this next restart here. Peter DeBorgia will be the control car in the extralife.org number 40 machine. Outside lane will be controlled by the 25 Kellogg's Camaro of Kevin Freese. And we're going to have to wait and see how this one ends. Definitely a lot of intensity. And I think we were kind of talking in the booth here under commercial break, Chris. You're kind of expecting to see a little bit more chaos here with the 8 laps to go on this restart.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not seeing too many teammates close to each other, and if they are not on the same line next to each other. So it's almost enemy, friend, enemy, friend. When you're looking at some of your teammates here right now. So I think just the way things are lined up, unless these guys coordinate themselves to get to one side or another, I think we're going to have some pretty bad pushes, some aggressive pushes, and possibly another caution. But I trust these guys. I know they put on an entertaining race, and for the most part, they're usually clean. So we'll see what happens when we come to the green.
We will have to wait and see for sure. Definitely have to find that dancing partner in the draft wherever they may be or whoever they may be, because it would take some very bold moves for some of these teammates to try and get lined up. And we'll have to wait and see if they take those or if you're just going to settle in line with the guy who's pushing you. And as we get back underway, the green flag is back out. 25 machine getting a great start on the outside with the help of David Overstreet. The 40 machine of Peter DeBorgia has the 85 machine and the 05 machine lined up. Adam and Brian behind him. Going to push through turns number 1. And again, we have 8 laps to go in this one. 3 cars only in the inside lane, as the outside lane has a bit more momentum coming down the backstretch here.
Yeah, outside line with a great push right there. So I think 25 is going to come down. Yeah, he's going to come down. The 68 is going to be up top. Right now, he's going to be a little bit of a checkup on the bottom line, but I think it's going to be okay with just 4 cars. If there's any more, there'd be a slight checkup in the back. These guys might have a late push right there. But I'm looking at these guys, probably 5 or 6 rows back. They're honestly just chilling right now, but it's kind of go time. I'd be pushing 3 wide if I was them.
Yeah, you got to be in a position now at this point. If you are in 20th place, you are not in position to win this race. You got to get there. You got to be up in the front of this one. I really like where Kevin Freese is now. He's got an opportunity to kind of control this race from the inside line, and it's really going to depend if that 68 machine and the 94 machine are going to be... Oh, we got a little bit of contact as Adam Kildare collects it. Great save. A little bit of contact, but we are still rolling green. But
yeah,
they're going to have to be organized.
They're looking good right now.
Yeah, they're going to have to be organized to get good pushes as the outside lane's trying to get something going down the 94, being pushed by the 33 machine in that very outside lane.
Yeah, 68 right now is kind of in the dead man's lane right now. He's just the only person by himself. Has to get a little bit of help from the 05 as 40 goes out.
We're going to have a crack.
Big run. This is a big one. I think they all went down to the apron, too. All simultaneously went down to the apron, so this is going to stay green.
We are green flag right now, but it looks like Derek Laurie, Brandon Paul, Bob Fitzgerald, Charles Johnson, and Andrew Pileshi all... Excuse me, not Andrew Pileshi. Those are some of the drivers that are involved in that one, but Eric Laurie, Brandon Paul for sure, Charles Johnson. We're going to say green flag. No yellow has been thrown. We are 3 wide action at the front of the pack right now. Kevin Free still leading the inside lane with the 85 of Adam Kildare, pushing him. The 40 of Peter DeBorgia currently leading the middle lane, with the 05 of Brian Wang pushing him. The outside lane is the 94 machine of Maxwell Caldwell with the push of the Ford Mustang of Gael Brooks at the moment. 3 wide, at least 6 rows deep, and this is going to be a crazy finish as we're going to have 5 laps to go this time by at the stripe.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for those guys that got caught in that wreck, for them to be all the way down in the apron. So, there was another spin, a big one. The 51's in it. Oh, there's a couple other guys. That's going to be a caution.
Yeah.
That's going to be a real one.
Man.
That's half the field, I think, in 2 laps.
In 2 laps. That's crazy. Let's see if we can go all the way back to the first bit of action here and see if we can find out what happened there. Then we'll jump to the most recent issue here. As you see some of that happening, like you said, all these guys sliding to the inside of the field. We're going to take it back here and give you we'll go a little bit further back here. Try and give a good view of what happened there. 03 of Brandon Paul. Seems like this is where it kind of started here. The 98, who's actually the 30 machine, as you see on your screen. Can't quite remember the name at this point, but someone there getting a little bit of a bobble in the inside lane and just gets loose. That's the 08 machine of Bob Fitzgerald there. Got loose and kind of cleaned out the 071, unfortunately. And as they check up behind him, the 03 machine made some contact. The 9 of Charles Johnson, the 04 of Ambrose Kniebel. We saw big impact up there for, I believe, the 16. Yes, the 16 Logitech machine of Nathan Warner as Ambrose joins the field back through the grass. That was our first big bit of action, and all from, looked like Bob Fitzgerald just getting a little bit loose off the apron off of 4 and coming and collecting a few more cars. Now we'll take you to the most recent wreck that we saw in the front pack here. And we'll see if we can see where this happened. You see further back, Jim Brooks is already out of shape, so we're going to rewind this one a little bit further for you, trying to get you caught up on all of the action that happened. And that actually happened way further back in the pack than just Jim Brooks. We'll take it back here a little bit further just to get a replay for you. We'll see the 98 machine on the roof, but it's actually the 30 machine of Carl Lingle that you're riding on top of at the moment. And you see the 01 of, I believe that's Patrick Groover in the middle lane there, pushing the 33 machine of David Bone. And we'll see how this one develops as they come down on the shirt chute after the tri-oval into turn number 1. And it looks like it looks like a little bit of net code there. Not quite an actual contact, but iRacing ruled it more or less as a contact between the 01 and the 98. That's going to collect Jack Walls, the 83. Further up, we saw the 51 of Jim Brooks, the 33, get collected. The 071, who was a lap car and an innocent bystander, gets collected, as well as the 64 machine. And a lot of other guys, David Bone there. You see the 41 machine. Jeremy Osborne also getting collected in this front pack. Yeah, I don't really think anybody did anything wrong in that second bit there, Chris. Looks like just a little bit of netcode where iRacing thought that they had connected, but really I don't think they did.
Yeah, that was just unfortunate circumstances on the. I guess that's the second big one we had. I know we had some guys on the apron the lap before, but yeah, just unfortunate. But that's kind of why you want to stay up front when you're coming down to the last 5 or 10 laps of a race, that you kind of put yourself out of that mess. The more cars are behind you, the less likely that you'll be involved or run into the wreck. So if you're guys like the 95, the 070, or the 71, the Gael Brooks, or the 48 Peter the Borgia, you're sitting pretty right now. There's only a couple people that can really ruin your race.
Definitely. It's definitely better to be towards the front. And after that caution, Maxwell Caldwell is going to take advantage of that. He is now going to be the control car, getting a great push from Gael Brooks in that third lane before all of the chaos ensued. That's going to put him right back in front of Gael Brooks, and it's going to line up Peter DeBorgia and Kevin Freese as well on the inside lane once again. And we are going to re-rack them, restack them, and try our hands at a green-white checkered here on Green-White Checkered TV. But first, one more quick break and a message from our sponsor, 4D Racewear.
4D Racewear, makers of the ultimate sim racing shoes and custom apparel designed for sim racing by sim racers. 4D racing shoes are engineered to connect racers to the pedals in a way no other racing shoe can, all the while giving you the comfort needed to complete those double and triple stints. Visit 4dracewear.com and check out the latest sim racing products that let you connect to your sim.
And as we mentioned just before the break here, we are going to have a green-white checkered restart here. The control car of Maxwell Caldwell being pushed by the 71 of Gael Brooks, Peter DeBorgia in the 40 machine with the help of Kevin Freese in the number 25. Fast thoughts, Chris, right before what could be the final restart of this one.
Ooh, man, that's hard to tell. Honestly, I want people to make it through. I want us to get to at least the white flag lap of what's going to happen, but it's so hard to tell.
We'll have to wait and see if these drivers can remain patient enough to get to the white flag, or if we're going to have another attempt at a green-white checkered. It's going to be Maxwell Caldwell rolling into the Geico restart zone, getting power to that engine, putting the rubber to the road, and getting underway on what could be the final restart of the night in the 94 machine. A little bit of separation there from the pusher of Gael Brooks, but he's going to get reconnected there. Going to have a little bit more momentum in the outside lane, the 40 machine and the 25, trying to see what they can do to push down this backstretch and see if they can get clear and down to the inside lane. But we are 2x2 all the way back through this one now, as it is absolutely go time. There is no time to waste. You are pushing as hard as you can for what could be the final lap of this one next time by.
Yeah, the outside line's getting just enough push. Peter Borgia was not clear yet to drop all the way down to the bottom. So Gael's bringing that bottom line all the way back up to the front. We are very close to getting to that white flag lap. Whatever happens after that. I'm still waiting to see if a third line forms. I think that 68 is looking right now. I think we got a couple people looking, but right now Peter Borgia going to lead this lap. So we'll see what happens.
We are going to get to the white flag lap, so this will be the last lap of the race. No cautions allowed under white flag conditions. And Peter DeBorgia currently in the lead with a strong push of that 25 machine of Kevin Freese. Will he stay there? Will Kevin Freese get clear, try to move himself to the bottom, or will these drivers be able to race it all the way back to the line the way that they are? Kyle Brooks pushing as hard as he can on the back bumper of the 94 machine, but not quite enough so far. Peter DeBorgia still has the advantage as they go through turn number 3. Now the 94 pulling even as, Kyle Brooks is going to spin the 94, and it's just going to be Peter DeBorgia by himself at the front of this one.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I think it's just a slight hook right there. Peter DeBorgia is coming to win. The 05's coming in second, and I think Aubrey Thompson, person you haven't really talked to yet, comes in third. That's crazy.
That is an absolute crazy end to this one, and I know Gael definitely going to be bummed to see it end that way. And looks like the bumpers of Gael's Ford Mustang and the Chevrolet of Maxwell Caldwell unable to sync together there, and a little bit of a moment there as Peter DeBorgia is going to be free and clear to take that victory. His teammate Brian Wayne, or sorry, I don't believe teammate, excuse me, I don't believe that's correct. Oh no, yes, they are working, yep, no, that is correct. Teammates Peter DeBorgia and Brian Wang are going to finish 1-2 in a fairly unorthodox finish that I don't think we were expecting to see tonight, Chris.
Yeah, definitely not. We didn't expect the top 3 to be probably 2 or 3 seconds away from each other. Usually this is milliseconds, of a difference right now. But oh my gosh, what a way to end the race. I know that that might have been just an unfortunate bump, or maybe even just a slight glitch in the simulation that Gael turned, who he was pushing right there. But yeah, unfortunately, that collected everybody. That cleaned out everybody right there. But that was a great race, nonetheless.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we've got a couple interviews to get to here, and we're going to bring in the first one of Aubrey Thompson here as we get to our podium interviews. And real quick here, 1 second, get organized here before we bring Aubrey into the booth. But yeah, definitely a very exciting finish to this one here, and one that I didn't think that we were expecting. We've got on the screen the 38 machine of Aubrey Thompson. Bring them up into the broadcast booth here. Definitely probably not where you were expecting to finish on that restart there, Aubrey, but a great opportunity at the end there to capitalize, and you were able to bring it home third place in that number 38 Blind Squirrel Racing machine. Take us through how the end of that one went for you.
I don't know how to explain it, to be honest with you. I had a feeling there was gonna be a big wreck. Whenever they started spinning, honestly, I held it to the floor and just went where I thought I could go and make it.
Yeah, that was a great race from you with a finish and a little bit of wreck avoidance right there. We didn't see you in the front too often this race, and I think you're fairly new to the league. But is there anything you're learning from anybody in particular, or any teams in particular that you're just running around here so far?
Well, I do run a lot of the money races that John Ward and them put up, and it does help me a lot with these Talladega races. Usually pit strategy races I do run at the back to try to stay out of trouble. Plus, I did have I think 5 teammates with me tonight, and they were all pit strategy too, and that's what we were doing until the end.
Yeah, it definitely helps to have those teammates and some of that strategy to kind of play with or play against. It's hard to do these things alone. I mean, obviously, we talked about in the broadcast, you kind of have to find your dancing partners in the end where you may not be lined up with your teammates, but really, coming through that final wreck there, didn't really have any teammates, and we're just kind of able to get through it. And I assume that was probably not, something unexpected, but probably fortunate at least to grab a nice top 5 here tonight, Aubrey.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it for who was in it, but same time, I'm glad it happened. I mean, it definitely helped me out because I think I was running, I don't know, maybe 12th, 13th. I don't know where I was at, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think it was, I can't remember exactly where it was, but definitely was a little bit further back. But anyway, a good solid night. Definitely working well with the teammates to stay in that lead pack and stay on the lead lap. And I want to give you now the roll that red carpet for you. Any thanks or shout-outs you'd like to give for that third place finish tonight?
Well, I just want to thank my teammates with Blind Squirrel Racing. I know they finished pretty much right behind me, so I think we come out pretty clean tonight. And of course, I always want to thank Ambrose for starting it. And that's it. I mean, that's all I got to say.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Aubrey. Right place, right time at the end there, and congratulations once again on that podium tonight.
I appreciate it.
All right, we will bring up our next interviewee. That is the 05. You see the two scratched out on the paint scheme of Brian Wang. No stranger to the broadcast booth here, especially not on Thursday nights, especially in recent history. Brian, it's good to see you back behind the wheel in the second race of this season, and saw you guys working pretty well together pretty much all night long, and kind of right place at the right time towards the end, and looks like you were able to come home a solid P2 tonight. Take us through how that race went for you and your team.
Yeah, it was a surprisingly clean race, especially towards the start of the race with minimal cautions, with no cautions at the start of the race, actually. And yeah, it was really nice getting those green flag pit stops in. And there was quite a bit of fuel saving that we had to do because the fuel numbers were set to where you could basically make it on just 2 pit stops. And so after Kevin and I got to the front at the start, we had to save fuel a bit in the second stint just to make it to the end with another stop, I mean. But then a caution came out, and obviously that changed the plan and stuff. And yeah, towards the end, I think Gabe and I were just both kind of stuck on the bottom. And then we were just praying for something to happen. And something did happen, but Gabe and Kevin got caught up in it. So it ended up being Peter and I finishing 1 and 2, which was pretty lucky for me.
Yeah, there was definitely a lot of chaos back there, especially on that last lap. But interesting to see your car right now. I see the paint scheme just says a scribbled
Just
out
don't
and then
look at the
05.
roof. Just don't look at the roof.
Unfortunately, we kind of had to, where the way that the camera, you were coming across the line over the camera. So we did see that, but nice car. I guess my question to you is, with the new pit strategy that ended up happening due to the update and how the car was working, was that benefit to you guys, or do you think that kind of hindered the way things were running? How usually these guys run about 20 something lap fuel run. We ended up kind of going a little bit further than that. Do you think that was a little bit of a benefit or a hindrance?
I think it was a bit of a hindrance. It was definitely a disincentive to run up front, because by running up front, and especially in the third lane, like Kevin and I were, then you burn so much more fuel, and we had to save, obviously, just to do the same strategy as everyone else.
Yeah, we saw that during the green flag pit cycles. Wasn't sure if at the front of the field if you guys were going to be able to go all the way towards the end there, but definitely had some cautions to kind of even out the rest of the field towards the later stages of that one. But yeah, so I know we got I got to ask. Obviously, Chris mentioned the paint scheme, but it looks like maybe a backup car for Kevin, scratching out a few decals and putting not in front of the name rail there, but a little bit of a backup car that the team had left over for you to get in tonight. It looks like.
Yeah, for sure.
Good deal. Well, definitely fortunate for you guys to get through that one at the end and make it a 1-2 finish with the teammates. Want to roll that red carpet out for you and give any thanks or shout-outs for that second place finish tonight, Brian.
Yeah, thanks to you guys for broadcasting, everyone in the league, all the admins. Thanks to my teammates, Peter, Kevin, Gabe, and Eric.
Awesome. Congratulations, Brian, once again, and we'll talk to you later, buddy.
Thanks.
Just go Here we are with the race winner, and by a lengthy margin that we weren't really expecting at the end of this race. Peter the Borgia, how you doing, sir?
That's pretty great. I don't think I've ever had a margin of victory like that before.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a pretty crazy race, pretty crazy way to end the race. But you were up front for a good bit of time, and with that nice paint scheme, was there a way that you were kind of hoping this race would end? I know you wanted to win, but under those circumstances, seemed a little bit unorthodox.
I mean, from lap 50, actually from like lap 45, when we got that weird caution there, like, I know people were like, this kind of fixes the fuel issue, but I was anticipating a lot of green whites. I felt like the car since the update last week has been a little bit more loose than people remember. They've been doing a lot of truck driving or haven't had to push as much of the old draft model, and it's been a little bit wiggly. And you saw a lot of wrecks there at the end. I was kind of anticipating that, so I was hoping that we were going to go green. Actually, as soon as we had that restart, where I think Austin missed a shift or double shifted or something, that's what bummed me out, because I was like, all right, we were going to be at the back, we were going to short pit, no one's going to see it coming, we were going to be running super hard lap times and try to run down these guys saving fuel. And I had doubts that we were ever going to get that track position back, but found our way to the high side there. I was able to push Kevin clear, and then hats off to the 85. I know he ended the race on his side and wasn't able to get to the finish line there, but Adam Kilday, I run with him in a couple other leagues, and he was really the reason I was able to stay up front for as long as I did. And David Overstreet as well. They were pushing Kevin and I a great deal. So it wasn't how we drew it up for sure, but everything just kind of kept breaking a certain way that wasn't really unfavorable, I guess. I didn't really get caught up in wrecks. I have a 0x on the night. I know not many guys can say that, so we'll take it. And I wish I could trade a win with. I wish I could trade that margin of victory and just like split it up like 3 ways across 3 other wins, but it's all right.
Yeah, definitely. You were running up front pretty well tonight, consistently, and I know that on that last restart, you decided to stay up top, even though Kevin Freeze pushed you with a little bit of a clearance to get down low. Were you trying to just set up a strategy to where people didn't try to go 3 wide on you, or were you just trusting that Kevin Freeze wasn't going to kind of just dump you out the way and get you pushed across the line the wrong way?
Kevin's my teammate, and he's also my teammate Monday night. So I told him, I was like, look, you want me to go down, we could just make sure one of us wins. That'll be fine. He said, nope, I got you. And I was like, all right, I'll stay right here. And lo and behold, he did. I haven't been able to look at the replay yet. I'm still in the cockpit now. I'm driving around so this thing runs out of gas. But I want to see if he blew up or if Gael got loose or gave a bad bump or what exactly caused that insanity that I saw in my mirror behind me. I didn't get a good chance to see it, but I could look at the standings and see that 7th place finished 8.5 seconds back. So that's usually a good sign that a whole lot of cars got tore up there at the end. So I bet it was a good one to watch. But I'm not quite sure. Kevin said he blew a motor, but Gael said that he spun Max out at the same time. So, but I stayed up there just because that's where Kevin was, and he said, "Let's go, let's do that." And also at the same time, I knew if Adam was going to make a move, that we had Brian and Gabe on the bottom 2 ready to fill that void. So I wasn't really worried about losing our help.
Yeah, definitely. It was exciting to see. I mean, looks like a lot of things kind of came to at the same time there. Whether it was I know Gael mentioned maybe pushing a little too hard there, trying to get to the win, and obviously the 25 blown up at the same time. But you were able to be ahead of that. But I do want to ask you one thing though. I see you got extralife.org on the side of this paint scheme here tonight. I don't think everyone who watches our broadcasts understands what that is, so I want you to maybe highlight that wonderful organization for us, Peter.
Oh yeah, for sure. I actually have quite the history of driving the Xfinity cars in Area 51 and showcasing Extra Life and winning a championship with an Extra Life car. But it was on Sundays, not Thursdays. I actually joined this league 5 minutes before qualifying, so thanks to Gael for letting me in. But yeah, Extra Life, absolutely awesome program. They now more than ever, the local Children's Miracle Network hospitals need our help, and they unite a bunch of gamers together to effectively, some people run marathons for charity, some people will, donate blood or do all sorts of other things there. This one is, hey, I'm gonna stream video games for 24 hours straight on daylight savings time weekend in November, and donate towards the cause. Mine happened to go to Johns Hopkins Children's Center. I'm a Maryland native. Not too many iRacers where I live, but that is a pretty renowned hospital and not that far from me. And a lot of things that I'll do, not just during that week, but I'll do sorts of fundraisers and many things all year. And I make paint schemes for people. So if you're ever interested, hit me up. you can find me on Facebook or Twitter or X or whatever, or just DM me on iRacing. I'll be happy to try and hook you up. I don't take money personally. You just donate it to Extra Life in my name, and this is a hobby. It's pretty cool that hobbies are able to generate funds once in a while. I'm used to spending money on hobbies. I'm not used to making money, so I'd rather it go to a good cause. So yeah, I'll post the link there in YouTube. Anyone who's willing to help out or wants a paint scheme or something, hit me up and we can make some magic happen. But I appreciate you giving me the platform.
Yeah, definitely. That was a great plug. I don't even know if we can ask you, but is there anyone else that you would like to thank for tonight's race or anything else? Any shout outs that you want to give?
Yeah, you guys doing a great job in the booth. Gives Gael a break and lets him drive around. We have to put up with him killing everybody at the front of the field. But you guys did a great job up there. All the people who are watching. I see we got 7 people still watching now, even though you got to my long rambling interview. So thanks for tuning in, guys. And all the drivers here come out. Like, I know that it's summertime still. People are trying to squeeze the last little bit out of the good weather. And it's 8:30. Let's all sign in the iRacing and drive around with a bunch of friends. So this doesn't work if we've got 10 guys showing up. And the fact that we've got 30 or so showing up on a Thursday night is what makes this fun. So thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Definitely a lot of fun, and maybe not the circumstances you wanted, but I was excited to see you still come home in P1 tonight, Peter, and congratulations once again on that victory.
All right. Thanks so much, guys.
Well, Chris, that was, it was a great race. It was a lot of great green flag action that we saw early on, some mixed pit strategies, and a little bit of chaos at the end. What was your biggest takeaway from tonight?
My biggest takeaway, honestly, this is why I love being in the booth. All that chaos that happened right there. I don't think my body can handle it. My heart couldn't handle all the restarts, the tension, and just what happened at the end of the race. That stuff is crazy. So it's always fun to be up here in the booth. But if I had to give this race a rating, or I guess a synopsis right there, it was better to be up front than to be in the back. Obviously, there were some weird pit strategies with the new update and everything. But I think if you're up front, you're in the clear. If you're in the back, you better be able to steer.
Yeah, definitely a great way to put it there, Chris. We saw, a little bit of a difference here from our first week to this week as far as how that handling went with the cars. The update of the damage model, as well as the update, believe almost every single baseline setup for every track got updated as well. So the cars are a little bit more on edge than maybe they're used to being, but definitely gave us some great action to watch, and had a lot of fun calling it with you here tonight. Before we sign off, though, we will grab a quick race result and see if we can see where everybody stacked up at the end. As Peter DeBorgia, we already mentioned, taking home the win there, working with Team Bootnaka. Very decent large margin of win over Brian Wang and most of the rest of the drivers in the field. We see Brian Wang there, second place, about 0.4 of a second back, and Aubrey Thompson coming home almost 1.5 seconds back. Corey Buskirk was one of the other drivers able to get through that mess there. Another Blind Squirrel Racing driver, Jack Walls in the 83. Caught up in a few incidents here tonight, but he is able to come home P5. Jeremy Osborne also caught up in a few incidents there towards the end for Blind Squirrel Racing, was able to come home 6th place. Dean Wilkinson, who we didn't see too much of tonight, kind of stayed back, came up through the field in a dominating fashion at one point in the race, and just kind of drifted back to try and stay out of the chaos. He capitalizes with a top 10. David Overstreet, for his efforts tonight, also rewarded with a top 10. Ambrose Kniebel and Austin Call finding their way last 2 cars in the top 10. Kevin Freese, who mentioned blew a motor there at the end of that one, still comes home P11 with Gael Brooks there in 12th. He's probably a little bummed about the way the final lap went down, but sometimes that is just racing. He's doing everything he could to try and push and get to the end there. Carl Lingle will be your last car on the lead lap for the evening, as Maxwell Caldwell will bring it home 14th. First car 1 lap down, followed by Adam Kilday, who had a great run pretty much all night long, as we heard Peter DeBorgia complimenting him and his drafting skills. Definitely a bummer for his efforts to not be rewarded this evening with that 15th place finish, but still a lot to be proud of there, as well as for Gabe Butler, who led, obviously the first lap and tried to stay out of the chaos. And as he managed to get back up to the front there towards the later stages, was just kind of collected in some of the chaos at the very end, as well as Patrick Groover and David Bone there caught up in a couple cautions there. I'll pull up this second page of the results here if you'd like to go through that for us, Chris.
Yeah, as soon as I see it on the board, we can definitely knock that out. Okay. Yeah, I was just having a little trouble there. So yeah, Jim Brooks was 19th. We had Charles Johnson, unfortunately, in the back. Eric Gore, who was running up front, finishing at 21st. Boss Fitzgerald. We had Brandon Paul, Bud Steele, who was definitely in a couple of wrecks, unfortunately, this evening. Finishing 24th. Nathan Warner, Andrew Pileshi, Giovanni. Oh man, y'all gonna have to pay me extra to say that. Achipini? Achipiti?
You're going with Okapinti, but we'll see.
Okapinti. See,
we'll have
to
to ask, but yeah, I don't know if that's correct or not.
Yeah, definitely get to me on that one. I would love to say that correctly the next time. Seth Groover, one of the Groover brothers, finishing in 28th. Richard Bernice in 29th. And Boomer Logan, I don't think you took any laps, but you finished 30th if you wanted to take that claim.
Yeah, I definitely did not join the iRacing session the proper way, so I apologize. Usually able to avoid seeing that, but yes, technically, I'll have to ask IL if I can actually earn 30th place points for tonight. See if he'll actually give me that without turning a lap. But nonetheless, a lot of good action, some chaos, definitely some rewards for some drivers who were in the right place at the right time, and a few drivers who unfortunately were in the wrong place at the wrong time and not able to capitalize on some solid runs here. But yeah, definitely a lot of fun. They're very much looking forward to getting back to more action next week. We will be back at iRacing Super Speedway on the 21st, followed by Talladega in 2 weeks' time on September 28th. And we'll keep rolling through the season. That'll bring us through the first third of the season through September 28th at Talladega, and we'll keep rinsing and repeating the rotation of Atlanta, Daytona, iRacing Super Speedway, and Talladega. We've got only 2 races in, so it's pretty early to start talking about it, but the last 4 races of the season will be our playoffs, and there will be, I believe, somewhere around 12 drivers that will be competing in the final 4 races to earn their way into the playoffs. And it's not necessarily a win in your in system. You got to be in that top 12 in points to make your way to the playoffs. So definitely bodes well for Peter DeBorgia, who had a solid night tonight. Brian Wing did not make the first race of the season, but should have some solid points after that second place this evening, and we'll have to take you through that action as it unfolds here. Again, still pretty early on in the season, but big wins last week for Bud Steele, which will help after he had a very difficult week this week, getting caught up in a lot of action, not of his own doing. And then Peter DeBorgia, our second winner of the season so far. But we will be back for more racing action in 1 week's time. Don't forget, on Sunday nights, we have got the Super Truck Series, who will also be at they'll be at iRacing Super Speedway this week, so they're going to actually start their third week of action this week. So they're kind of 1 week, I guess, ahead of you, or at least they're the start of the week, as you will, for the broadcasting here. But they're going to follow the same schedule: Atlanta, Daytona iRacing Super Speedway, and Talladega. So be sure to be back on Sunday nights. I believe that will be our own Gael Brooks, who will be running the show on Sundays. And we'll be back here on Green White Checker TV for that. Until then, though, and until next Thursday for the Xfinity Series, Super Speedway Series on Thursday nights, myself, for Boomer Logan, myself, and for my buddy Chris Matthews, we are going to sign off for the evening, and hope you all have a great night and a great rest of your week.